Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna and welcome after a long break, all the festivities. We are continuing today, Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 9, verse 36. This is the last of the 4 seed verses of the Bhagavatam. And in fact, it's possibly one of the longest purports in the Bhagavatam. See, as we mentioned, many of these verses, these 4 verses, Prabhupada has given extensive purports. So today we will cover verse 36. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunatham Mitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesa Sunyavadi Pastatyadi Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sarva Shastra Payusha Sarva Vedeka Satvala Sarva Siddhantaratnada Sarva Lokai Triprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavato Prabhu Kali Dvando Adidaritya Shri Krishna Parivartita O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic scriptures, O most prominent transcendental fruit of all the Vedas, O you enriched with the jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O light breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga, you actual Lord Krishna who has returned amongst us. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshasharaya Te Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you one attains transcendental bliss. For your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are incarnation of Lord Krishna. Madekabando Mad Sangim Mad Guru Mad Mahadana Man Nishtaraka Mad Bhagya Madananda Namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, my companion, O my teacher, my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer respectful obeisance unto you. Sadhu sadhu tadayana tini chochataraka namunchakada chinmam premna ritkatyaspura. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O give us saintliness to the unsaintly. O uplift to the very fallen. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest. My heart and my throat accompany your love of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yatonvayadi Taratascha Swabhigna Swarat Tene Brahma Hidaya Adikavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatrati Sargo Mrisha Dhamna Swena Sada Nirasta Kwakam Satyam Param Dhimai. Oh my Lord Shri Krishna, Son of Vasudeva, O pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. I made it upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primal cause of all causes of creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representation of water seen in fire, land seen in water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifest by the reactions of the 3 modes of nature appear factual, though they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from illusory representation of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Prayanalpaisha Sabya Kalavasmin Yuge Jana Manda Samanda Mateo Madhyabhagya Upadrita. O learned one, in this age of Kali, many but short lies, the quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, Nakya misguided, and above all, always disturbed. Narayan namaskritya narachevam narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tojay mudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personhood of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Savai pumsa paro dharma yatho bhaktira dokshaje ahitukiya pratihata yatma suprasitati. The supreme occupation, dharma of all humanity, is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated, uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janayachu Savairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahitukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of God as Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causes knowledge and detachment from the world. Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yat gnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. The learned transcendentals who know the absolute call this non-dual substance Brahman Paramatma Bhagavan. Shrushrushradhanasya Vasudeva Kataruchisyan Mahatsavaya Vipra Punyarchita Nishevanat. Otherwise, upon sages, by serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service done by such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. Shranmutam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Yaddan Vedyantastoya Badrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who's developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Nasta Prayashu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtiki. By regular attendance and a class in the Bhagavatam and rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troubles in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service under the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental song, is established as an irrevocable fact. Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Sadharmam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janmalabha Parahumsam Na Ante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection of human life achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupation duties to remember the personality of God at the end of life. Akama sarvakama va mokshakama udarini tivrena bhakti yogena yajare purusham param. The person who has broad intelligence, where they be full of all material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are continuing Srimad Bhagavatam based on teachings of Divine Grace Ace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Let us cover any feedback that one may have that you can remember from our last session few weeks ago. Anyone has any recollection before we proceed? Please type in the chat. So we have been discussing Chatur Sloki Bhagavatam 2, 9, 33, 34, 35, and today we're going to be covering 36. And as we mentioned, the purports to these verses are extremely lengthy, implying the importance. And therefore, it is of utmost importance that we pay attention to these purports. 33 discusses Gyan, which is our relationship, knowledge about our relationship with God. If you do not have knowledge, there is absolutely no question of progress in any aspect. If I don't know about a computer, there's absolutely no question of even using a computer because I don't even know it exists. So I need to know about something for me to take advantage or use it or leverage that aspect. of what I know. Therefore, you'll find in Bhagavad Gita, we covered the yoga ladder. And what allows us to progress on the yoga ladder? Let's see. I'm sure all of you did Bhagavad Gita. So name me two of the most important elements that allows one to progress. We know the first 6 chapters discusses yoga ladder. So what two aspects are most important for one to advance on the yoga ladder? Because the yoga ladder has rungs. How do I climb that rungs? How do I move forward on that rungs? How do I progress on those rungs? What determines that I progress? Please share in the chat. What two aspects will determine how I progress on the path of the yoga ladder, which is basically, you could say, our life in spiritual life. So, Yamavati says knowledge. Les says chanting and association. So, first aspect is knowledge. So, Yamavati is correct. Then the higher your knowledge about what you want to achieve, the goal, the aspiration, the object, the greater the destination. Okay, so knowledge is key. Knowledge is the first and foremost. Now I'm going to use the rest of your responses to prove the point that knowledge is first. Okay, and then we'll give you the second. So Mother Les says chanting and association. If I don't have proper knowledge of how to chant, my chanting is going to be useless. If I don't have proper knowledge of what is proper association, I'll be associating with those that go to the movies, not related to Krishna, thinking I'm associating with devotees. Or those who are on this path. So knowledge is key. Shamananda Prabhu says, enthusiasm and determination. A thief, Shamananda Prabhu, let me know. Is a thief enthusiastic and determined? A rhetorical question, right? Because if you're a dead thief, and you're not an enthusiastic thief, and you're not a determined thief, yes, definitely after knowledge. If you don't have the proper knowledge, you will not be able to master up the proper determination and enthusiasm. So knowledge directs our enthusiasm. Knowledge and fuels determination. Knowledge directs how to chant, what association we need. Inquiry, knowledge would fall in the same category. Knowledge tells me that I need mercy of the pure devotees. So you will see the foundation, the basis, the driving force, the most important aspect is knowledge. And now if you compare that to what Prabhupada has given us, why did Prabhupada give so many books with that knowledge? Because that knowledge is the life and soul of devotional practice. It directs us, it motivates us, it encourages us, it gives us direction. Without which it's like a ship that has no rudder, going nowhere. And you could be going nowhere very fast. Or you could be going nowhere, very slow. But going nowhere is where you're going. So therefore, knowledge is key. Reading, studying, understanding Prabhupada's purports is key for progress. If you see in our line, our parampara is shiksha based. Why? Because it's the knowledge. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his spiritual master is not displayed as a photograph on the altar. He got initiated, Diksha, but the knowledge, Shiksha Guru is on the line, connection there, because of the knowledge. So knowledge is key. We cannot underestimate this aspect of Gyan, Vigyan, knowledge. The second aspect of, and back to knowledge, the higher your knowledge about God, the higher destination you can achieve. Okay? If I don't know about a level, I can't aspire and I can't progress to that level. So the Goswamis, who are intimate associates of Krishna, have given us, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, coming to us through the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, have given us the highest understanding of the supreme absolute truth. Without that, there would be total confusion. Or we would think that the absolute truth is energy and energy alone. Or the absolute truth is super soul and super soul alone. Or the absolute truth is only Lord Ram. Or the absolute truth is Lord Shiva or Ganesh. Or the final snare of Maya, I am God. I am the absolute truth. So without their guidance, without the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, without Srila Prabhupada, we would be confused like every majority of the people out there. But by Prabhupada's mercy, we have clarity. And clarity leads to focus. If I have clear understanding, I'm able to clearly understand what I need to do. There is focus. Like that magnifying glass example. If you don't have clarity, you cannot focus all the rays onto one point to burn the paper. So Gyan gives that focus. The second element that allows one to progress is detachment from the Bhagavad Gita. Now, detachment can be connected to many of the aspects that you've mentioned. For example, chanting and association. For me to spend time chanting and associating, and means I need to detach myself from other activities that could be taking my time. Knowing I need the mercy of the pure devotees means I need to detach myself from the mercy of non-devotees, so to speak, the association of non-devotees. Detachment in activities that I may have been enthusiastic and determined. Just like, I was very enthusiastic and determined for volleyball playing. But when I have proper understanding, then I develop detachment for those activities, which are holding me back, which are anchors. So detachment means, indirectly, we know from the Bhagavatam that for the soul to detach is very difficult. So what would be another synonym, spiritual synonym, right? I'm not looking for a dictionary synonym. What would be another spiritual synonym for detachment? Detachment of all things not related to the Supreme Lord. What would be a synonym for detachment in spiritual circles, in relation or in context of the Bhagavatam? Synonym for detachment. Mother Lash, liberated. Any other takers? Synonym for detachment. Bafana says disengagement. One more. Namavati and Nalini Kanta says reject, unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. And Bafana says indifference. Yes, but not the answer I'm looking for, according to the context of the Bhagavatam. Synonym for detachment means attachment to Krishna. That's a synonym. See, I said I'm not looking for a dictionary synonym. So detachment basically means attachment. So on the yoga ladder, the more detached I am, I move up. What's the implication? What does that mean? It means the more I'm attached to Krishna, I move up. Because I can be detached. If you go to the Kumbh Mela, I'm sure you saw some footages of the Kumbh Mela, and you see, it's amazing. I mean, there are souls who are there who are totally detached, like the Naga Babas. The yogis, Prabhupada says, the yogis, especially during the Kumbh Mela, if you ask them, how old are you? Oh, 500 years old. A few thousand years old. 300 years old. They come from the Himalayas. And Prabhupada said they'll go into one river and they come out at the Triveni. Now these yogis are detached. They totally detached, no clothes. They grow their hair. It's like the detachment, the renunciation is of a high level. They're not worried about eating, sleeping, mating, defending, nothing. Sustaining on the bare minimum. Focusing on meditation. But that form of detachment is not what the Bhagavatam is presenting. Bhagavatam is presenting detachment from the material energy, detachment from anything not related to Krishna and becoming attached to Krishna. So these two elements allow one to progress. So therefore, Gyan, knowledge, is very important for us to understand the goal and take advantage of the process and achieve perfection. Then Vigyan, the second verse was talking about how does one know that that knowledge that one has acquired is actually realized knowledge. And who can tell us in text 34 what was the focus? All right, we've got Hemavati quoted from text 34. Example, the rope is a snake, the illusion perception is Maya. Anything separate from Krishna is Maya. We need the grace and the mercy of his internal energy to see him. So in text 34, Krishna is saying, anything separate from me, know that to be Maya. If your desires are separate from Krishna, guess what? They're Maya. If your attachments are separate from Krishna, Maya. If your knowledge is separate from Krishna, Maya. If your aspiration, desires, anything that you are striving for to accumulate, to enjoy, if it's separate from Krishna, it is Maya. So when you know that and you are actually applying that in real life, oh, this is not good. I need to avoid this. I shouldn't enjoy this. I shouldn't exploit this. You follow that understanding in your life, because you can say one thing, think another, and act in a different way. That means our thinking, feeling, and willing is not in a straight line. What I say may be totally different from what I think, may be totally different from what I do. That's called a politician in the material world. The politician will say, yes, 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 we will do, give us the votes. And once they're appointed, unfortunately, because of lack of purity, lack of connection with Krishna, their focus is totally different. Yudhishthir Maharaj was placed as the emperor of the world by Lord Krishna. They had killed millions of soldiers, millions of citizens to put Yudhishthir Maharaj as the emperor. But Yudhishthir Maharaj understood the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His actions, his thinking, his speaking were all in alignment for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's a Vigyan. Then we covered 35. Sambandha, the Abhideya, the process. And it's interesting in this verse 35, which we're going to recap as well. The Lord says, I'm in the world and I'm not in the world. I'm in everything and I'm not in everything. He's giving contradictory statements, and Prabhupada says it's very simple to understand the contradictory statements if you're in love with God. And how to fall in love with God? Well, you have to practice the process. Sadhana Bhakti leads to revival of love of Krishna. And then finally we come to today's verse, Prema Bhakti, the secret, Rahasyam, the goal. So let's take the feedback. Shamananda Prabhu says, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Lord Chaitanya's Achinta Beda philosophy is topmost complete and reconciles everything. Yes. All the acharyas have come, and it's not like they've given wrong information. No. According to time, place, circumstance, Krishna's heart, Krishna's compassion is that he wants all living entities to come back to his lotus feet, because he knows that's best for them. But at different stages in the cycle of time, one process or one aspect of knowledge may be more relevant than other aspects. So therefore the acharyas, they come and they present, and the next acharya will add and add In this way, one teacher after another adds to the understanding. Like grade, kindergarten, then grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, like that. There's different additions, different layers. And then one can ask the question, okay, so if each acharya is coming and adding one to the next, then is there a limit? Is there a climax? Just like I go to school, then primary school, secondary school, then tertiary school, then I don't keep schooling, in the material world. In terms of that gross example, I start working. So one starts to apply that knowledge, and now one starts to work. So similarly, one may ask, is there a limit? There has to be some sort of, okay, that's it. And that limit of knowledge is given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's nothing beyond that understanding. Now, when we say there's no understanding beyond that, it does not mean that there is no higher relationship or level beyond that knowledge. The knowledge is the highest, but one's love in relation to that knowledge has no limit. Understanding is the highest, but in terms of the practical application of that understanding, there is no limit. Mother Lessons, Hare Krishna. I really like that even though the Chatusloki is repeated, also emphasizing its importance and for reinforcement, but this second time around, we are different from who we were from the first canto, yes. So in the first canto also, Srila Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, even Srila Prabhupada would intertwine this understanding, and we get it again, and it will be repeated again, and Prabhupada's purports repeated again. And again, the repetition, the knowledge is the same. But according to your realization starts to go deeper. Your love needs to increase. Your appreciation needs to increase. Your commitment and dedication need to increase. Even if I read the same purport as we mentioned, Prabhupada said, if you read all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, every single day you'll find something new. You're reading the same 18 chapters, and Prabhupada said, study all 18 chapters every day. So you're studying all 18 chapters every single day. Somebody will say, I know this. I read it already 10 times, 20 times, 30 times. 365 times I read every single chapter. Studied, not just read. So I know it. Prabhupada says if you study all 18 chapters every single day, you find something new. That means your realizations will increase. The depth will increase. Your appreciation will increase. You get a different perspective, a different glimpse. That can only happen when there is love. Because love has no limit. Love has no bound. How much more must I serve? I already served them so much. How much more can I serve? No, that means no love. Love means no limit to service and no limit to thinking, no limit of appreciation, no limit of gratitude, no limit of sacrifice, no limit of offering oneself to the beloved. Then Bafana says, I love the idea of us getting old. Even if you're 3 months old, you're old as a 39 or so age. Prabhupada, when he was discussing with one life member, he asked, Prabhupada was encouraging him to take spiritual life, and the life member responded, when I'm old, Swamiji, because that's the idea. He's like, I'm young now, I'm youthful, I got so much energy, I need to do things in this world. When I get old, then I'll think about spiritual life. Prabhupada asked him, what's your definition of old? If you're going to die tomorrow, you are old now. That is old age. And because you don't know when you're going to die, you could be old at any time, and therefore you have to take to spiritual life. Prahlad Maharaj says at age, from the age of 5. So yes, not like when I'm old. You may miss the opportunity if you're thinking like that. We have to understand, I could die at any time. I could die today. I could die right now. And if I'm going to die right now, have I achieved the perfection of human form of life? And what is that perfection? That we're going to cover in text 36 today. Bafana says, can we not say that death is a transition to eternity, the very eternity that we spiritually are aspiring for? Yes, only if and only if you have the proper understanding. If you don't have the proper understanding, if you don't have jnana, if you don't have knowledge of the truth, then for you, death becomes the truth. Death becomes the reality. And when death becomes a reality, then there's fear. But when you understand the absolute truth as given by the Srimad Bhagavatam, then you become deathless. Then you transcend the fear of death. Then death basically becomes a transition to greater and greater levels of associating with the Supreme Absolute Truth. Hemavati says, Srila Prabhupada said to note carefully the difference between the two I's, predominated and the predominated. Yes. Me and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Two totally different identities and individuals. If one thinks one is God. All right, let's see if we can answer this question. Srila Prabhupada would often quote this. Prabhupada says, if one thinks one is God, then he is yes, dog. If one thinks he's God, then he's really a dog. Yes, because it's a crazy understanding. And yet there are those who think I'm God. Now, as Shamanand Prabhu says, yes, Achintya Beda Beda Tatu Lordship Mahaprabhu has given us the complete philosophy. Okay, so are we God? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy should include everything. And there is philosophy that one is God. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming to synthesize all philosophies and give the proper understanding. So what does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tell us in relation to are we God? And Prabhupada has repeated again and again and again in his purports for this understanding. So what does it mean that I'm God? Please type in the chat. We are separated parts. Okay. Not the complete picture. We are part and parcel of God, servants, dust and dust. Yes. So not the complete picture. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the ultimate philosophy that we are God, and we are also not God. Quality and quantity, yes. So if somebody asks you this question, you have to respond similar to how Prabhupada has given us the knowledge. And how does Prabhupada answer that? Prabhupada says, yes, we are God, and we are also not God. We are God in sense of quality, same quality, and we're not God in terms of quantity. So quality means God is Satchidananda. We also Satchidananda. God is a person, you also a person. So we send similar to God. But quantity, you like a small drop of water from the ocean that have the same quality of the ocean, salty. The ocean is salty, drop of water from the ocean is salty, but quantity vast. Compared, the ocean is vast and the drop is tiny. Prabhupada would say, minuscule, anu, insignificant, teeny, tiny, very small, nothing. Krishna is everything. You are nothing. But quality-wise, you are similar to God. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is a Chintya Beda Beda Tattva, understanding. Right. Okay, we covered all. Good. Let us now proceed. So we still have this second last section, verse 31 to 38. The Lord is sharing the Chatusloki Bhagavatam Lord Brahma. So we'll just recap the first 3 verses of the Chatusloki and then we'll cover today's verse. Aham eva sama evagre nanyad yat sat asat param paschad aham yad etachcha yo ava shishyate yoham yo asyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead. And after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. Text 34. Rityartham yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tad vid yad atmano na mayam yatha basho yatha tama. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusory energy, that reflection which appears to be darkness. 35. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhutesu chavashe vacheshwanu pravishthanya pravishyani tathateshu nateshwaham. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into the cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created, and at the same time, I am outside of everything. And we covered that. And today's verse, text 36. Etavad eva jignasyam tattva jignasunatmana anvaya vyatirekyabhyam yat syat sarvatra sarvada. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So this verse, the Lord is telling Lord Brahma that if a person is searching after the supreme absolute truth, if you're searching for God, so in the chat, answer the question. When this verse is talking about a person, is that you as a person. Is this verse talking about a person? Is that you? Let me know. Somebody says yes. Mother Les says yes. Yes. That person is me. That person is you. So the Supreme Lord is telling you this instruction. And therefore, take heed of this instruction. Because we are all searching for Krishna, searching after the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if I'm searching after the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what must I do? This is the climax of the Chatusloki. The Lord is saying, must, certainly. These two words, must, certainly. There is no question of but. There's no buts. This is how it has to be. Must, certainly. No doubt. No maybe. No options. Okay? I must, and certainly. If you do not do this, or if you don't have these two adjectives, these two focuses in terms of must and certainly, what will happen? You will get derailed. You will get distracted. You will lose focus. And when you get derailed, when you lose focus, when you lose determination, when you stop, you're not going to achieve the goal. So must certainly. Okay, must certainly do what? Search. It's an interesting adjective or action word. I need to search. What does it mean? Search. I need to search for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I need to keep looking. Prabhupada would say, the Goswamis, they didn't say, oh, Krishna, I know you. I see you. No. The Goswamis were praying, where are you, my Lord? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Is he in this bush? Is he here? Is he there? Where is he? They're looking, they're searching. Srijit Mahaprabhu would be searching, running after Krishna, trying to go to Vrindavan, trying to go here, finding Krishna. So we definitely, at least I can speak for myself, don't have Krishna. One is thinking, oh yeah, I know Krishna, I see Krishna every day, 24 hours a day. Well then, wrong forum. In the wrong forum. You should be in the spiritual serving Krishna. Wrong forum. So we are not in contact with Krishna. 100%, 100%. I'm still searching for Krishna. So in our devotional practice, I need to cultivate this attitude of searching. Now, I just want to focus, I just spend a few more minutes on this word search. What would you search for? What would somebody search for? And what would somebody search for in relation to must and certainly? What would someone search for, especially in relation to must and certain? Hope my question is clear. What would someone search for? Anyone? Please tell me in the chat, what would someone search for? In the general sense, what would you search for? Money and love? Madhuri says, if you're keeping it simple, it's paneer. What will one search for? Search for the characteristics and qualities of the objects of research, if I hear the question. Yes. Love. Okay, so good. We will search for something that is very dear to me, that I feel that this is a necessity, this I need. Without this, I will die. Without paneer, I will die. Without love, I will die. Without love, I will die. I need this. Therefore, they will search. If for example, today's world is very simple. If you lose your cell phone, what happens to you? Let's sorry, Madhu just said free. So, if you lose your, let's say you go to the temple, right? Then you jumped into the car, and now you're driving halfway. It's my cell phone. What's going to happen? Be honest. Be honest now. Hemavati says frantic. Exactly. You'll be totally frantic. Where's your cell phone? Yeah. See. People cannot let go the cell phone. It has to be in the hands. If they let go, they get withdrawal symptoms in today's world. So, if you lose the cell phone, you become frantic. Now, Hemavati, when you become frantic, what do you start to do? When you become frantic, what do you start to do? One time, Srila Prabhupada was speaking, there was a whole group of individuals, and Prabhupada wanted to illustrate this point, this philosophical point. So, Prabhupada, there was Saraswati, there was the daughter of Mother Malati and Shamsundar. So Prabhupada had she had a doll of Krishna. So then Prabhupada took the doll and then quickly hid the doll behind his back. And then Prabhupada asked Saraswati, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? So naturally, when she saw that the doll is missing, then she would become frantic, just like your cell phone becomes you miss your cell phone, you're missing your cell phone, misplace your cell phone, now you become frantic. So when Saraswati became frantic, what do you think she started doing? Looking around, frantically going around the place, looking at the different places. Where can Krishna be? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And then she going to different individuals. Where's Krishna? Where's Krishna? And then Mother Malati would say, who has Krishna, Saraswati? Who has Krishna? Hinting, giving hints. Who's got Krishna? And then immediately clicks. I know who got Krishna. Prabhupada's got Krishna. So then obviously she runs to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, you got Krishna. And Prabhupada then brings out Krishna. So in this way, when you have become frantic because you lose something that is very key for your existence, you will start searching. And you will start searching everywhere. As Les says, high and low for the phone. I don't care. Stop the car. We need my phone. It's a matter of life and death. So this is what happens. So that's what Krishna is telling us. that when you realized that I have lost Krishna. See that word searching? Must certainly search. If you look at the top line, first line, Proverbs, the verse says, a person who is searching after what? Not your cell phone, not paneer, after the supreme absolute truth. So when you realize that I'm now disconnected from the Supreme Lord, I'm missing Krishna, I need Krishna in my life. In one purport, Srila Prabhupada says, when you realize, just like if you stop breathing, you are desperate for air, for oxygen, because it's a matter of life and death. So when you realize that to that degree, that intensity, that I need Krishna, then you take to spiritual life seriously. Right now, Krishna consciousness, I need Krishna. Yeah, it's okay. I still also need paneer and everything else. All my other activities. But when you realize this is the only thing I need, it directs your life, focuses your life seriously. So then Krishna says, must certainly search for it up to this. Up to what? Up to this point of pure love of Krishna. Meaning that I may be on the path, but I need to keep searching. I need to keep progressing. I need to keep moving. Up to what point? Up to this point of pure love of Krishna. If I have not got up to pure love of Krishna, I need to keep moving. I cannot say, I'm Krishna, I got Krishna consciousness, I'm happy, I got initiated, I got my bead bag, I got my new name, life's okay, I'm perfect now. Nope. I need to keep searching until pure love of Krishna. Until I'm seeing Krishna face to face, completely, in full love of Krishna. Okay, in what conditions? And the Lord says, in all circumstances, in all space, in all time. So what does it mean? Okay, Prabhu, I'm a brahmachari. I'm a grihasta. I'm a sannyasi. Oh, I'm nothing. Oh, I got this position. I got 5 children. I got no children. I got no money. I got money. I'm in the temple. I'm not in the temple. It does not matter in all circumstances, in all space. Oh, Prabhu, I'm only 5 years old. I'm 30 years old. I'm 99 years old. I'm not dying. I'm dying. I'm healthy. I'm not healthy. I don't care. It does not matter. Krishna is saying, in all circumstances, in all space, in all time. Oh, Prabhu, I don't have any problems. Oh, I have problems. I got good health. I got bad health. I got retrenched. I'm not retrenched. It does not matter in all circumstances, in all space, in all time. Krishna is sealing any loopholes, any excuses to keep searching for him in pure love of Krishna. And then Krishna says, both directly and indirectly. Directly means activities which are conducive for my search. Indirectly means activities that I need to give up, which are detrimental to my search. So this is the last verse. Now let us look at Srila Prabhupada's purport. To unfold the mystery of Bhakti Yoga, as it is explained in the previous verse, is the ultimate stage of all inquiries, or the highest objective for the inquisitiveness, for the inquisitive. Everyone is searching after self-realization in different ways. By karma yoga, by jnana yoga, by dhyana yoga, by raja yoga, by bhakti yoga, etc. So the objective of every living entity is the same. Everyone is inquiring about the same object. It's just that majority do not know. In Krishna book, what does George Harrison say in the preface? Anyone can remember? What does George Harrison say in the preface of the Krishna book? All you need is love, Krishna. He says everyone is searching for Krishna. Everyone is searching for Krishna. Some know it, some don't. Those that don't know, they're looking for Krishna in business, in politics, in family, in friends, in business, in social work, in sports, in recreation. They're searching for Krishna. So every single living entity is searching. Those who know a little more, they're searching spiritually. And spiritually have different yogas, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti yoga. It does not matter. The search is the same. The objective is the same. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. To engage in self-realization is the responsibility of every living entity developed in consciousness. So it's our responsibility. If we have this human form of life, it means it's a must. We have to. One who is developed in consciousness certainly makes inquiries into the mystery of the self, of the cosmic situation, and of the problems of life in all spheres and fields, social, political, economic, cultural, religious, moral, etc., and in the different branches. But here the goal of all such inquiries is explained. So if you step back and look at life, look at everyone in this world, in all different spheres of life, they all doing the same thing. They're trying to be perfectly happy. They're looking for something that's going to fulfill the inner core of their being. And if they don't get it, they're going to look for it. If they're inquiring about something and they don't get it, they're going to keep inquiring. So throughout life, I will keep searching, keep moving, keep changing my direction again and again and again. I'm going to keep progressing. If I meet a dead end, I turn and look for another route. If I find someone and they can't give me satisfaction, I look for someone else. If I get something and I find that it's not fulfilling my needs, I go to something else. One life after another, one search after another, one inquiry after another. I keep going, moving until I reach that solution, that objective. So therefore, Prabhupada is making the point, what is that goal? What is that topmost situation that when I get it, when I reach that, all search ends? And Prabhupada continues. Because Prabhupada is making the verse is explaining that ultimate end, that goal. If I don't have that goal, I will keep searching. Right? Implication to us that if I don't understand what Krishna is saying, I'm going to be in this rat race of searching. The Vedanta Sutra philosophy begins with this inquiry into life. And the Bhagavatam answers such inquiries up to this point, what the mystery of all inquiries. Atato Brahma Jignasa, inquire. Now that you have this human form of life, inquire. Lord Brahma wanted to be perfectly educated by the personality of Godhead. And here is the answer by the Lord. Finished in 4 nutshell verses. From Aham Eva to this verse. Etavad Eva. If we want to achieve perfection, here is perfection in 4 verses. If we get these 4 verses, if we understand these 4 verses, if we realize the conclusion of these 4 verses, our search has finally ended. This is the end of all self-realization processes. Men do not know that the ultimate goal of life is Vishnu, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, due to being bewildered by the glaring reflections in the darkness. And as such, everyone is entering into the darkest region of material existence, driven by the uncontrolled senses. If we do not know the conclusion, clearly you're going to be revolving, you're going to be evolving, revolving, moving from one situation to another, up and down, left and right, in the sphere of darkness. Because we do not know the conclusion. And what's going to drive you? Your uncontrolled senses. And if you look at every living entity, take different species, you'll see they're driven by their senses. And they have very specific actions and focuses. Like, for example, Prabhupada says a hog. Because of the senses he's got, his focus is stool. A lion, flesh. A pigeon, sex. A bear, sleep. So, according to the senses, you'll be driven. And the Bhagavatam says that a living entity, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, even one sense that becomes distracted can totally derail the transcendentalist. If you look, a moth has an uncontrolled sense in relation to sight. Therefore, when there's fire, it just gets absorbed, just gets attracted to the fire, and it goes into the fire and gets burnt. The fish has an uncontrolled appetite in relation to its tongue. And therefore, they put a bait and it gets caught. Like that, different entities have weaknesses of the senses. And Prabhupada says, just consider the human being, all his senses are focused. So, and uncontrolled, if one has uncontrolled senses, one's going to get caught up. The whole material existence has sprung up because of sense gratification, desires based principally on sex desire. And the whole result is that in spite of all advancement of knowledge, the final goal of all activities of the living entities is sense gratification. But here is the real goal of life, and everyone should know it by inquiries. But inquiries put before a bona fide spiritual master, expert in the science of bhakti yoga, or from a living personality of Bhagavatam life. Lord Brahma was fortunate that he had placed this inquiry. And since there was no one else available, Krishna responded to his inquiry and mercifully appeared as the first Adi Guru, the first spiritual master, giving instructions. Now we have this glorious discussion of this event of Krishna speaking Lord Brahma via the Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, taking this discussion, is giving us the discussion, embellishing the inquiry with his realizations so that it's relevant for our understanding and digesting. Everyone is engaged in various kinds of scriptural inquiries, but the Srimad Bhagavatam gives answers to all of the various students of realizations. This ultimate objective of life is not to be searched out without great labor or perseverance. If you want to know the truth, be ready to put effort. Be ready to persevere. If you want to be Krishna conscious, you're going to have to put the work. If you want to be Krishna conscious, you will have to persist. What's the implication? The implication is the ultimate object of life. If you want to be, okay in Krishna consciousness, then it's okay. But if you really want to be Krishna conscious in the ultimate objective of what it means to be Krishna conscious, see, it does not say and mean that if you want to be Krishna conscious 2 hours in a day. When Prabhupada is talking about becoming Krishna conscious, it means becoming Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. Not just for a few hours or few minutes. So when I realize I need to be fully Krishna conscious, what traits, what quality do I need to develop if I'm going to be on this journey? For example, if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to start a business, there are certain traits you have to have in order for you to succeed as a businessman. One of the traits is perseverance. Because as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, it's 100% guaranteed you're going to get obstacles. There is not one entrepreneur that's on this planet out there that has never experienced obstacles. So similarly in spiritual life, labor, effort, devotional practice, and perseverance. One who is imbued with such sincere inquiries must ask the bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession from Brahmaji, and that is the direction given here. So inquiry, clarification, direction, engagement, and then inquiry, clarification, direction, engagement. In this way, we keep inquiring higher and higher and higher and higher, keep engaging higher and higher, and we keep moving. Because we all start somewhere in spiritual life, and no one starts at perfection. It's like we start at 0, or in most cases, we start at -100. And then we need to progress and keep progressing and progressing and progressing. We need to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving until you've got 100%. So that's the point. I should not stagnate. I should not think, and it's, stagnation it's dangerous, but to think that I have achieved 100% when I'm at 5% is even worse. And therefore, here Prabhupada is making the point, sincere inquiry. Sincere inquiry is, what does it mean? It means a truthful devotee. Be honest. Where am I? Because if you're not honest with where you are, and you're thinking you're at 100%, then there's no question of inquiry. There's no question of progress. In fact, I'm already achieved perfection, and therefore there is no question of moving forward. And if there's no question of moving forward or inquiring or how to progress further, when I'm at 5%, thinking I'm at 100, you will never make progress and you're never going to achieve the goal. Therefore, be truthful, knowing where you are. And, and there's no harm in being at 5%. As long as we keep persevering and we keep moving to 6 and 7 and 8 and 20 and 30 and 50 and 100. Because the mystery was disclosed before Brahmaji by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the mystery of all such inquiries regarding self-realization must be put before such a spiritual master who is directly the representative of the Lord, acknowledged in that disciplined succession. Such a bona fide spiritual master is able to clear up the whole thing by evidence from the revealed scriptures, both direct and indirect. Although everyone is free to consult the revealed scriptures in this connection, one still requires the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, and that is the direction in this verse. The bona fide spiritual master is the most confidential representative of the Lord, and one must receive direction from the spiritual master in the same spirit that Brahmaji received it from the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. The bona fide spiritual master in that bona fide chain of disciplic succession never claims to be the Lord himself, although such a spiritual master is greater than the Lord in the sense that he can deliver the Lord by his personally realized experience. So Prabhupada is making the point, the bona fide spiritual master is there to help the disciple in his inquiry to progress. We may just take a bona fide spiritual master for initiation, and now we've got a new name and full stop. Here, Prabhupada is talking about inquiry, which means it's not just the Diksha Guru, it's the Shiksha Guru and the Diksha Guru who both need to fulfill the purpose of clarification, of helping the disciple in his inquiry to progress in his spiritual journey. The Diksha Guru gives you the Diksha mantra for daily service. but the inquiries still need to be clarified. Prabhupada has also assisted both types of spiritual masters because Prabhupada is giving all the knowledge in his books. So if we simply understand what Prabhupada is saying in his books, majority of inquiries are resolved. And then the living spiritual master, whether Shiksha or Diksha, can still be there to fine-tune and then guide accordingly. The Lord is not to be found simply by education or by a good fertile brain, but surely he can be found by the sincere student through the transparent medium of the bona fide spiritual master. The revealed scriptures give direction directly to this end. But because the bewildered living entities are blinded by the glaring reflection in the darkness, they are unable to find the truth of the revealed scriptures. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, the whole direction is targeted towards the personality of God and Lord Shri Krishna. But for want of a bona fide spiritual master in line of Brahmaji or the direct hearer Arjuna, there was a different distortion. There are different distortions of the revealed knowledge by many unauthorized persons who just want to satisfy their own wants. Undoubtedly, the Bhagavad Gita is accepted as one of the most brilliant stars in the horizon of the spiritual sky. Yet the interpretations of this great book of knowledge has so grossly been distorted that every student of the Bhagavad Gita is still in the same darkness of the glaring material reflections. Such students are hardly enlightened by the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, Prabhupada is now making the point that the student may inquire, the student may want to know, and the student may go to the space or the environment where that knowledge is. So for example, oh, I need to know about God. Oh yes, they say that you can know about God in Bhagavad Gita. Great, let me get a Bhagavad Gita. So the process is not faulty. Inquiry leads one to Bhagavad Gita. Inquiry about God leads one to Bhagavad Gita. The challenge is, Prabhupada is making the point, is who is giving that knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita? Where is that knowledge connected to in the disciplic succession? Because that's where the bona fide spiritual master comes in. Not just the knowledge that is there in the Bhagavad Gita, but which Bhagavad Gita? Where is that spiritual master connected to? Which disciplic succession? Because if he's not connected to disciplic succession, then that Bhagavad Gita is going to be of a disservice. You will still be in the darkness of the glaring material reflections. In fact, you'll be thinking, I am a student of Bhagavad Gita. And here you are, still in darkness. And you're wondering, why I'm not satisfied? Oh yeah, I don't think this Bhagavad Gita thing works. It's all fictitious. They're all just talking nonsense. No, you've got the wrong Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, Prabhupada is making the point. There has to be a bona fide connection. There has to be a bona fide link. There has to be a bona fide disciplic succession. Otherwise, you're not getting the same knowledge that Krishna is giving. In the Gita, practically the same instruction is imparted as in the 4 prime verses of the Bhagavatam. But due to wrong and fashionable interpretations by unauthorized persons, one cannot reach the ultimate conclusion. Now we have to ask the question, why is Prabhupada talking about this in this specific purpose? Reason is because Prabhupada understands that this is relevant for you. This is important to stop your search once and for all. So therefore, Prabhupada is not taking it for granted that you are connected to a bona fide disciplic succession. Somebody out there may pick up this second canto, and that person may not be connected to Prabhupada. That person may not be connected to a bona fide disciplic succession. So when he picks up this Bhagavatam and he picks up this verse, Prabhupada is going to lead him to the proper inquiry and the spiritual master to get his search completed. If you do not have a bona fide connection or bona fide spiritual master who's connected to a bona fide disciplic succession, even though you may have knowledge and you may inquire and you may get answers, your search is going to continue. So in order for your search to finally stop, that means to get onto the right path of searching, Prabhupada is bringing these points up, so they're relevant. And when I know that I'm now on the right path, connected to the right bona fide disciplic succession, now our good fortune to be connected to Srila Prabhupada, then I don't need to search for the same wisdom outside. Now I can take advantage of the path and the wisdom and move forward. See, there are people still searching for the right vehicle, the right business, the right guru, the right process. But when we have the right disciplic succession, now within that disciplic succession, I can move forward. In Bhagavad Gita 1861, it is clearly said, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddesha arjuna tishtati. Brahmanya brahma yam sarvabhutani yantra rudani maya. The Lord is situated in the hearts of all living beings as Paramatma, and is controlling all of them in the material world under the agency of his external energy. Therefore, it is clearly mentioned that the Lord is the supreme controller and that the living entities are controlled by the Lord. In the same Bhagavad Gita 1865, the Lord directly directs as follows: Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evashyasi satyam te pratijane priyosime. It is clear from this verse of the Bhagavad Gita that the direction of the Lord is that one should be God-minded, a devotee of the Lord, a worshipper of the Lord, and must offer all obeisance unto Lord Krishna. By so doing, the devotee will undoubtedly go back to Godhead, back to home. Indirectly, it is said that the whole Vedic social construction of human society is so made that everyone acts as a part and parcel of the complete body of the Lord. The intelligent class of men, or the Brahmanas, are situated on the face of the Lord. The administrative class of men, the Kshatriyas, are situated on the arms of the Lord. The productive class of men, the Vaishyas, are situated on the belly of the Lord. The labor class of men, the Sudras, are situated on the legs of the Lord. Therefore, the complete social construction is the body of the Lord. And all the parts of the body, namely the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, the Sudras, are meant to serve the Lord's whole body conjointly. Otherwise, the parts become unfit to be coordinated with the supreme consciousness of oneness. So it does not matter which social order you belong to. The objective of every social order is to serve the Lord's whole body conjointly. Everyone is meant to serve. So it's discussing this aspect. Doesn't matter what your situation is. The objective is the same, to serve the Supreme. Universal consciousness is factually achieved by coordinated service of all concerned to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that alone can ensure total perfection. Therefore, even the great scientists, the great philosophers, the great mental speculators, the great politicians, the great industrialists, the great social reformers, etc., cannot give any relief to the restless society of the material world because they do not know the secret of success as mentioned in this verse of the Bhagavatam, namely that one must know the mystery of Bhakti Yoga. In Bhagavad Gita 7:5 also it is said, Namam dushkritna muda prapadyante naradama mayaya pratagyana ashrum bhavam ashrita. Because the so-called great leaders of human society are ignorant of this great knowledge of Bhakti Yoga and are always engaged in ignoble acts of sense gratification, bewildered by the external energy of the Lord. They are stubborn rebels against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they never agree to surrender unto Him because they are fools, miscreants, and lowest type of human beings. Such faithless non-believers may be highly educated in the material sense of the term, but factually they are the greatest fools of the world because by the influence of the external material nature, all their so-called acquisitions of knowledge has been made null and void. Therefore, all advancement of knowledge in the present context of things is being misused by cats and dogs fighting with one another for sense gratification. And all acquisitions of knowledge in science, philosophy, fine arts, nationalism, economic development, religion, and great activities are being spoiled by being used as dresses for dead men. There is no utility in dresses used for covering a coffin of a dead body, save getting false applauses from the ignorant public. Sometimes when we do funerals, there's the coffin, and then you see the person's CDs there that he like. They put a bottle of liquor for the person. They put his favorite clothes. What is the use? One time, we were doing a funeral. So part of the funeral process, final rites, is to have ghee, melted ghee. So we had arranged, for the devotee to get all the ingredients from the temple, melted ghee, everything. And some situation transpired. So finally we had the ceremony. And now we need to get all the ingredients to do the final rites. So there's the ghee bucket. So then we bring the ghee bucket to get the melted ghee. We open the ghee bucket. And guess what's in there? Maharasgullas and kheer in the ghee bucket. So obviously there must have been some confusion. There must have been multiple ghee buckets. And the ghee bucket that actually had the melted ghee didn't come to the final rites. The rasgullas and the kheer came to the final rites. So there I'm the priest now. Was I okay? I was seeing the kirtan, and now the kid, the priest like wondering now. Okay, what are we gonna do with this? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you can't do anything. You're going to have to put it in there and do whatever you have to do, right? So, because at this point, makes no difference. Covering the dead body makes no difference. So, Prabhupada is highlighting the futility of all material advancement minus the focus, the objective of understanding what our human form of life is for. It's for realizing, for searching, for realizing, for surrendering to the absolute truth. Srimad Bhagavatam therefore says again and again that without attainment of the status of Bhakti Yoga, all the activities of human society are to be considered absolute failures only. It is said, Paraba vastavad abodajato yavan najignasata atma tattvam yavat kriyastavad idam manovai karmat makam yena sharir bandham. As long as one is blind to inquiring after self-realization, all material activities, however great they may be, are all different kinds of defeats, because the aim of human life is not fulfilled by such unwanted and profitless activities. The function of human body is to attain freedom from material bondage. But as long as one is fully absorbed in material activities, his mind will be overwhelmed in the whirlpool of matter, and thus he will continue to be encaged in the material bodies, life after life. Evam mana karma vasam prayunkte avidyayat manya yupadiyamane pritir nayavan mayi vasudeve na muchyate dehayogena tavat. It is one's mind that generates different kinds of bodies for suffering different kinds of material pangs. Therefore, as long as the mind is absorbed in fruitive activities, the mind is understood to be absorbed in missions, and thus one is sure to be subjected to material bondage in different bodies again and again, until one develops transcendental love for Godhead, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person. So, no matter what one's situation is in the material world, if that's the absorption, that's what the mind is thinking, birth and death. The mind needs to be elevated to absorption in devotional service, transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of God. When that happens, now one is on the path of transcendence. And when that happens, then and then only does the cycle of birth and death stop. To become absorbed in the transcendental name, qualities, form, and activities of the Supreme Person Vasudeva means to change the temper of the mind from matter to absolute knowledge, which leads one to the path of absolute realization and thus frees one from the bondage of material contact and engagement in different material bodies. We need to realize I need to change. We need to have the guidance that can help us to change. And then I need to change. And how will I know that I'm changing? The temperature of your mind. Gauge the temperature of your mind. Just like if it's too hot and I switch on the aircon, how will I know that the aircon is working? Well, if it's too hot and I switch on the aircon, the temperature should start reducing. If the temperature starts to increase, I can understand something's wrong with the aircon. I've got the wrong settings. So what is the temperature of your mind? Is it absorbed in the transcendental name, qualities, form, activities of the Supreme Person? If yes, right direction, right temperature. If no, start maneuvering, start changing, start fixing. You need to recalibrate, readjust your direction. Because if you don't, then your mind, as Prabhupada is saying, is going to generate another body. Now, yes, it's going to be a journey, And therefore, we shouldn't fool ourselves. I'm initiated, I got a spiritual name, I've got my new beads, I got my guru, I'm going back to Godhead. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. Just having a guru, just having a new name, just having initiation does not guarantee one back to Godhead. What is the temperature of your mind? To become absorbed in the transcendental name, quality, form, and activities of the Supreme Person Vasudeva means to change the temper of the mind from matter to absolute knowledge, which leads one to the path of absolute realization, thus frees one from the bondage of material contact and engagements in different material bodies. It's very clear. Therefore, gauge your destination in relation to the temper of your mind. Do not fool yourself. You can fool the guru with the diksha, shiksha. You can fool the devotees around, but you cannot fool Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada therefore comments on the word sarvatra, sarvada, in the sense that the principles of bhakti yoga or devotional service to the Lord are apt in all circumstances. That is, bhakti yoga is recommended in all the revealed scriptures. It is recommended by all authorities. It is important in all places. It is useful in all causes and effects. As far as the revealed scriptures are concerned, he quotes from the Skanda Purana on the topics of Brahma and Narada as follows. So before we go into the evidence, very beautiful point, that when I come to Bhakti Yoga, when I come to the process of Krishna consciousness, what have I got? What did I receive? What do I have right now? I got a path. I got a process that is accepted by all authorities, that's recommended by all scriptures, that's important in all places, that's useful in all causes and effects. It is the process, which means the search has ended. I got the process. Now, getting the process does not imply perfection in the process. But at least I'm convinced of where I am. As I mentioned, you'll be searching for all the different paths. When you get the right path, now stop searching. Now you got the path. Now take full advantage of the process, the path, and now move forward onto the path. There are those who are searching, one path after another, one guru after another, one process after another, one life after another, one universe after another, and they never get to the proper path. Then there are those who get the proper path and then they still carry on searching. So we don't want to be in both categories. When we get the path, which is non-sectarian, which is relevant in all times, all place, all circumstance, which is accepted by all revealed scriptures, all authorities tell you this is the path. Once you're on that path, your search becomes now ended. Now you start focusing on absorption. And now you can start progressing. As far as all the revealed scriptures are concerned, he quoted from Skanda Purana on topics of Brahma from Brahma and Narada as follows. Samsaresmin mahagore janma mrityu samakule janam vasudevasya tarakam vadibi smritam. In the material world,
which is full of darkness and dangers, combined with birth and death, and full of different anxieties. The only way to get out of the great entanglement is to accept loving, transcendental devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. This is accepted by all classes of philosophy. So if you haven't come to this conclusion that the perfection, the goal, the objective, my aspiration, my life is transcendental loving service to Lord Vasudeva, pure devotional service, pure love of Godhead. That is the period, that is the goal, Prema Bhakti. If I had to ask the question in the chat, how many of you know that this is the goal? How many of you to some degree realize that yes, the goal of my life is to perfect pure devotional service to Krishna? The goal of my life is to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How many of you feel that is your objective, that is your goal? That love of God is my goal in life. So Hemavati says, yes. Mother Les says, yes, easy to say, easy saying yes. Yes, I know, but at least it's a good yes. We're moving in the right direction. You see, I initially also mentioned knowledge is important. So yes, we should be at least convinced of the knowledge. I didn't talk about achieving it. I said, are you convinced? Are you, you have accepted that, yes, this is my goal? Whether it's now a reality in terms of the journey, that's the second phase. At least you know and you're convinced that, yes, this is my goal. This is my objective. Definitely, that's my objective. There's no doubt about my objective. I know where I need to go. That conviction we should completely have. And at least if we have come to this point, we should have that conviction that this is the objective, this is the goal, pure love of Krishna, full stop, nothing more, nothing less. That's the goal. And if somebody asked us that question, do you know that that's the goal? Yes. There should be no, do you know that's a goal? No, yes. And if we have not come to that firm conviction, dedication of yes, it means we need to clarify our doubts and we need to fine tune and get that conviction. Prabhupada is giving that conviction by quoting different verses. Yes, that I'm fully convinced. Now, I'm fully convinced that pure love of Krishna is the goal. The next step of progress is okay. Now I'm convinced of the goal. So now I'm not searching. I know the goal. Now I need to look at my progression in fulfilling that goal. And question now. So we all convinced pure love of Krishna is the goal. Okay. Give me one practical statement which we just heard about of how I can now measure the progression of loving transcendental devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. Give me one practical example of how I can now measure my progress when I'm convinced that this is the goal that we just covered. Please type. Anyone? Could be degree of hunger to chant the holy names more. Good. How absorbed we are in transcendental name, qualities, and form of the Lord. Good. Yes. Let's go back. When encountering distressing circumstance, I turn to Krishna. Good. Here's it again. To become absorbed in the transcendental name, qualities, form, and activities of the Supreme Person Vasudeva means to change the temper of the mind from matter to absolute knowledge, which leads one to the path of absolute realization and frees one from the bondage of material contact and engagement in different material bodies. So you've mentioned examples, and that's exactly what Prabhupada is making point here. Just measure the tempo of your mind. And how you measure in relation to your attachment to the name, form, qualities, activities, service. Srila Jiva Goswami also quotes another common passage, which is found in three Puranas, namely Padma Puran, Skanda Puran, and Linga Puran. It runs as follows. Alodya sarva shastrani vicharya cha puna punam idam ekam sunishpanam dyeyo narayana sada. By scrutinizingly reviewing all the revealed scriptures and judging them again and again, it is now concluded that Lord Narayan is the supreme absolute truth, and thus he alone should be worshipped. The same truth is also indirectly described in Garuda Purana as follows. Param gatopi vedanam sarvashastrartha vedyapi yona sarveshvara bhaktas tam vidya purusha damam. Even though one may have gone to the other side of all the Vedas, and even though one is well versed in all the revealed scriptures, if one is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, he must be considered the lowest of mankind. Similarly, it is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12, indirectly as follows. Yes, ya yasti bhaktir bhagavati ankitchana sarve gunas tatra samassate sura arava bhaktasya kuto mahadguno manorathe na sati davato bahi. One who has unflinching devotion unto the personality of God and must have all good qualities of the demigods. And contrarily, who is not a devotee of the Lord must be hovering in the darkness of mental speculation and thus must be engaged in material impermanence. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:18 says, Sabda Brahmani Nishnato na Nishnayat Pare Yadi Shramas Tasya Shramas Falo Yadyenu Ivarakshata. One may be well versed in the transcendental literature of the Vedas, but if he fails to be acquainted with the Supreme, then it must be concluded that all of his education is like the burden of a beast, or like one's keeping a cow without milking capacity. Similarly, the liberty of discharging devotional service to the Lord is invested in everyone, even women, Sudras, the forest tribes, or any living being born in sinful conditions. So the first section property is emphasizing who to search for. Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna, personality of Godhead, Narayan, Vishnu. That is the person we need to search for. Not the demigods, not any other human being. No, only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the focus. And then loving that Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's the goal. And then how is that love practically illustrated? Through Bhakti Yoga, through the process of devotional service. Who can engage? Everyone. Everyone has that ability. Doesn't matter what the situation is. Women, Sudra, forest tribes, every living being. Te vai vidyanta tita prantiche deva mayam stri sudra huna sabara apipapa jiva yadya bhuta krama parayana shila shikas tiryag jana apikim yushruta dharanaye. The lowest of mankind can be elevated to the highest stage of devotional service if they are trained by the bona fide spiritual master, well versed in the transcendent loving service of the Lord. If the lowest can be elevated, then what to speak of the highest, who are well versed in the Vedic knowledge? The conclusion is that devotional service to the Lord is open for all, regardless of who they are. That is the confirmation of its application for all kinds of performers of the service. Therefore, devotional service of the Lord with perfect knowledge through the training of a bona fide spiritual master is advice for everyone, even if one happens not to be a human being. This is confirmed in Garud Puran as follows. Kita pakshim mriganam cha haro sanyasta chetasam rudvam eva gatim manye kimpuna janinam narinam. Even the worms, birds, and bees are assured of elevation to the highest perfection of life if they are completely surrendered to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So what to speak of the philosophers amongst human beings? Prabhupada is quoting these verses to remove any cobwebs that may be there, any doubt, any I think possible, maybe? No. The process of pure devotional service, transcendent loving service, is so powerful that even non-humans can achieve perfection. What to talk about human beings? So we're on the right path, we're convinced of what the goal is. Now we should become convinced of the process, and without any doubt, we should know that this process is so powerful, it's the most powerful, that even non-human beings can achieve perfection. What to talk about those who are interested, those who are keen, those who are transcendentalists, those who are philosophers. Therefore, there is no need to seek properly qualified candidates for discharging devotional service to the Lord. Let them be either well-behaved or ill-trained. Let them be either learned or fools. Let them be either grossly attached or in renounced order of life. Let them be liberated souls or desiring salvation. Let them be inexpert in discharge of devotional service or expert in the same. All of them can be elevated to the supreme position by discharging devotional service under proper guidance. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9:30, 32 as follows. Apichet sudu racharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadur eva sa mantavya samyak vyava shito hisha mam hipartavya pashritya yepi shupapa yonahya striyo vaishya tatha sudras kepi yanti param gatim. Even if a person is fully addicted to all sorts of sinful acts, if he happens to be engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord under proper guidance, he is to be considered the most perfect holy man without a doubt. And thus, any person whatsoever or whosoever he or she may be, even fallen women, less intelligent laborers, or dull mercantile men, or even a man of lower than all these, can attain the highest perfection of life by going home back to Godhead, provided he or she takes the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord in all earnestness. So I'm convinced this is the process. Now I may have doubts. Yeah, I know this is the part, but I'm so fallen. I know this is the part, but I'm a bird. I know this is the part, but I am so sinful. I know this is the part, but I've done so many obnoxious activities. And on and on and on and on. Here is hope that Prabhupada is giving and quoting and validating. He's not just saying it, it's like sentimentally some gurus may say, don't worry, you're safe. No, he's quoting evidence that this process of devotional service is so powerful. It doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what you did. Doesn't matter who you are. If you embrace it. And what is that quality of embracing? In all earnestness. If you seriously, in all earnestness, accept the process and take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nothing can stop you. Nothing in the future can stop you, and nothing of your history can stop you on this path. Why? Because the path, the process has the power, has the potency. That is the beauty of the process of devotional service. And even if there's difficulty on the path, we persevere knowing that this is the best and the only solution. This sincere earnestness is the only qualification that can lead one to the highest perfectional stage of life. And unless and until such a real earnestness is aroused, there is a difference between cleanliness or uncleanliness, learning or unlearning in a material estimation. So when you are convinced of the path, then the material dualities that is visible, that people will see, becomes irrelevant. What's relevant from your perspective? Remember, we cannot control how people perceive and how people behave. But what is relevant is your conviction, your focus. Your focus should be sincere eagerness, sincere earnestness on this path. And then let the path, let the process, let the Supreme Personality of Godhead guide you and lead you accordingly. Immaterial of external variables and circumstances. And whatever is required for your growth to perfect pure devotional service, the Lord will arrange. As long as you are convinced of the process and then the journey, I need to aspire for that journey. I need to aspire for the perfection of that journey. I need to aspire for pure devotional service. Not be satisfied that I'm on the journey and stop. I need to keep moving with sincere earnestness. Fire is always fire, and thus If someone touches fire, knowingly or unknowingly, the fire will act in its own way without discrimination. The principle is Harir, Harati, Papni, Dushta, Chiter, Api, Smrita. The all-powerful Lord can purify the devotee of all sinful reactions, just as the sun can sterilize all sorts of imperfections by its powerful. As long as I'm under the sun, I will get purified by the sun rays. As long as I am at the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service, with sincere eagerness, sincere earnestness, I'll get purified. Thus, attraction for material enjoyment cannot act upon a pure devotee of the Lord. I will be protected. If I am not sincere, and I think I'm at 100% and I'm at 5, and then I play with fire, like loose association, I will fall down and get burnt. That is not the fault of the process of devotional service. That is the fault of you thinking you're at 100 when you're at 5. That means lack of sincerity. When you know sincerely I'm at 5, then the consciousness is, I better be very careful. I'm only at 5. And therefore I need to shield myself. I need to look for advanced association. I need to chant Hare Krishna. I need to engage in devotional because I need it. So that's sincerity. There are hundreds and thousands of aphorisms in the revealed scriptures glorifying devotional service. Atmaramas chamunayo. Even the self-realized souls are also attracted by the transcendent loving service of the Lord. Kechit kevalya bhaktya vasudeva parayana. Simply by hearing and chanting, one becomes a great devotee of Lord Vasudeva. Na chalati bhagavat padaravindal lava nimisharada apiya sa Vaishnavagriya. A person who does not move from the lotus feet of the Lord even for a moment is to be considered the greatest of all Vaishnavas. Bhagavat Prasadatam Prapte Mat Sevaya Pratitam Te. The pure devotees are convinced of attaining the association of the personality of Godhead, and thus they are always engaged in the transcendent loving service of the Lord. Therefore, in all continents, in all planets, in all universes, devotional service to the Lord or Bhakti Yoga is current. And that is the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam and allied scriptures. So Prabhupada is giving us one evidence after another, one quote after another, trying to convince us completely this is the process, this is the path. We should be convinced. Everywhere means in every part of the creation of the Lord. The Lord can be served by all senses or even simply by the mind. The South Indian Brahmana who served the Lord simply on the strength of his mind also factually realized the Lord. Success is guaranteed for a devotee who fully engages any one of his senses in the mode of devotional service. Therefore, the Lord can be served by any ingredient, even the most common commodity, a flower, a leaf, a fruit, or little water, which are available in any part of the universe without cost. And thus the Lord is served universally by the universal entities. He can be served simply by hearing. He can be served simply by chanting or reading about his activities. He can be served simply by adoring him and accepting him. So there is no limitation or there is no restrictions. that, oh yeah, I'm in this situation, therefore I can't become pure. According to your means, absorb yourself fully. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated that one can serve the Lord by offering the results of one's own work. It doesn't matter what one does. Generally, men may say that whatever they are doing is inspired by God, but that is not all. One should actually work on behalf of God as a servant of God. Yet, the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:27, Yet karosi yet asnasi, yet jehosi tadasi, yet tapasyasi kaunteya tat kuruswa mad arpanam. Do whatever you like, or whatever may be easy for you to do. Eat whatever you may eat. Sacrifice whatever you can sacrifice. Give whatever you may give in charity. Do whatever you may undertake in penance. But everything must be done for Him only. If you do business, or if you accept some employment, do on behalf of the Lord. Whatever you may eat, you may offer the same to the Lord, and be assured that He will return the food after eating it Himself. Because in case Krishna, you offer Krishna, He eats it. If you are pure devotee, you'll be in ecstasy. If you're not, you'll think, now I'm hungry, now I'm starving. He is the complete whole. And therefore, whatever he may eat that is offered by the devotee is accepted because the devotee's love. But again, it is returned as prasad for the devotee so that he can be happy by eating. In other words, be a servant of God and live peacefully in that consciousness, ultimately returning home back to Godhead. So be a servant of God. Cultivate that consciousness, cultivate that sentiment, cultivate that existence, cultivate that mentality, and then engage in the activities that resonate with that level of consciousness. In the Skanda Puran, Yasma Smritya, Yasya Smritya Nam Cha Na Muktya Tapo Yagya Kridadishu Nunam Sampurnatam eti sadyo vandetam achyutam. I offer my obeisance unto Him, the infallible, because simply by either remembering Him or vibrating His holy name, one can attain the perfection of all penances, sacrifices, or fruitive activities. And this process can be universally followed. It is enjoined, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Though a person be full of desires or have no desires, he may follow this path of infallible bhakti yoga for complete perfection. One need not be anxious to propitiate each and every demigod or demigoddess, because the root of all of them is the personality of Godhead. As by pouring water on the root of a tree, one serves and enlivens all the branches and leaves, so by rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, one automatically serves every god and goddess without extraneous effort. The Lord is all-pervading, and therefore service unto Him is also all-pervading. This fact is corroborated in Skanda Puran as follows. Archite Deva Deva se Sankhya Chakra Gadadhare Archita Sarva Devasyu Yatha Sarvo Gato Hari. When the Supreme Lord, the personal Godhead, who carries in his hand a conch shell, wheel, club, a lotus flower, is worshipped, certainly all the other demigods are worshipped automatically, because Hari, the personality of Godhead, is all pervading. So somebody may think, oh, but I've been worshipping all these different demigods. If I stop now, I'll be causing aparad, therefore I can't stop. You focus on the Supreme Personality of God, and everything else is resolved. Therefore, in all cases, namely nominative, objective, causative, dative, ablative, possessive, and supportive, everyone is benefited by such transcendental loving service to the Lord. The man who worships the Lord Himself is worshipped, the cause for which the Lord is worshipped, the source of supply, the place where such worship is done, etc. Everything is benefited by such action. This is the power, the beauty, the potency of devotional service. Everyone and everything that's related to the engagement in devotional service gets done. Even during the annihilation of material world, the process of bhakti yoga can be applied. Kalena nasta praya prale ye vaniyam. The Lord is worshipped in devastation because he protects the Vedas from being annihilated. He is worshipped in every millennium and or yuga, as it is stated at the Srimad Bhagavatam 12.352. Krite yad dhyayato vishnum tretayam yajato makhe dvapare paricharyayam kalo tad dari kritanat. In the Vishnu Purana it is written, Sahanis tan mahaj chindram samoho sacha vibrama yan muhurtam shanam vapi vasudevam na chintayet. If even for a moment of remembrance of Vishnu, Vasudev, the Supreme Person of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss. That is the greatest illusion, and that is the greatest anomaly. The Lord can be worshipped in all stages of life. For instance, even in the womb of their mothers, Maj Prahlad and Maj Parikshit worship the Lord. Even in his very childhood, at the age of only 5 years, Dhruva Maj worshiped the Lord. Even in full youth, Maj Ambrish worshiped the Lord. Even at the last stage of frustration and old age, Maj Dhritarashtra worshiped the Lord. Ajamil worshiped even at the point of death. Chitraketu worshiped the Lord even in heaven and in hell. In the Nishinga Puran, it is said that as the hellish inhabitants began to chant the holy name of the Lord, they began to be elevated from hell towards heaven. Durvasa Muni has also supported this view. Muchyeta yan namya udite narakopi. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, the inhabitants of hell became released from their hellish persecution. So the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam, as given by Sukadev Goswami to Maj Parikshit, is Etavan nirvidyamananam itcha tam akutobayam yoginam nripa nirnitam harer namanu kirtanam. O king, it is finally decided that everyone, namely those who are in renounced order of life, the mystics, the enjoy fruit of work, should chant the holy name of the Lord fearlessly to achieve the desired success in their pursuits. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.11. Similarly, as indicated indirectly in various places in the revealed scriptures, 1. Even though one is well versed in all the Vedas and scriptures, if one is not a devotee of the Supreme Lord, the personality of God, it is considered to be the lowest of mankind. 2. In the Garud Puran, Brihad Naradya Puran, and Padma Puran, the same is repeated. What is the use of Vedic knowledge and penance for one who is devoid of devotional service to the Lord? 3. What is the comparison of thousands of Prajapatis to one devotee of the Lord? 4. Sukadeva Goswami said, Srimad Bhagavatam 2.4.17, that neither the ascetics, nor one who is greatly munificent, nor one who is famous, nor the great philosopher, nor the greatest occultist, nor anyone who can achieve the desired result, nor can anyone achieve the desired result without being engaged in the service of the Lord. 5. Even if a place is more glorious than heaven, if there is no glorification of the Lord of Vaikuntha or his pure devotee, it should be at once quitted. 6. The pure devotee refuses to accept all the 5 different types of liberations in order to be engaged in the service of the Lord. The final conclusion, therefore, is that the glories of the Lord must be always and everywhere proclaimed. One should hear about his glories, one should chant about his glories, one should always remember his glories, because that is the highest perfectional stage of life. As far as fruit of work is concerned, it is limited to an enjoyable body. As far as yoga is concerned, it is limited to the acquirement of mystic powers. As far as empiric philosophy is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of transcendental knowledge. And as far as the transcendental knowledge is concerned, it is limited to the attainment of salvation. Even if they are adopted, there is every chance of discrepancy in the discharging the particular type of function. But adoption of the transcendental devotional service of the Lord has no limit, nor is there fear of falling down. The process automatically reaches the final stage by the grace of the Lord. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, there is an apparent prerequisite for knowledge, but in the higher stage, there is no necessity of such knowledge. The best and guaranteed path of progress is therefore engagement in Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service. The cream of Srimad Bhagavatam in the foregoing 4 slokas is sometimes squeezed out by the impersonalists for different interpretations in their favor, but it should be carefully noted that the 4 slokas were first spoken by the personality of Godhead himself, and thus the impersonalists have no scope for entering into them because he has no conception of the personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is concluding that if any impersonalist is giving commentary on these verses, don't listen. Why? Because he's believing God has no form. Hey, but God is speaking here himself directly. So therefore, the impersonal has no authority to comment. Therefore, don't even worry about him. Krishna is speaking directly. Therefore, the impersonalists may squeeze out many interpretations from them, but such interpretation will never be accepted by those who are taught in the disciplic succession from Brahma, as will be cleaned up in the following verses. Besides that, the Shruti confirms that the supreme truth, absolute personality of God, never reveals himself to anyone who is falsely proud of his academic knowledge. The Shruti mantra clearly says, Katha Upanishad 1:223, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Lapyo Na Me Daya Na Bahuna Shrutena Yam E Vaishya Vishnute Tena Lapyas Tas Ye Sa Atma Vivrinute Tanum Swam. The whole matter is explained by the Lord himself, and one who has no approach to the Lord in his personal feature can rarely understand the purport of the Srimad Bhagavatam without being taught by the Bhagavatas in the disciplic succession. Vantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So, Prabhupada is elaborating in the purport, covering so many aspects in terms of our past situation, in terms of our current situation, in terms of our activities, in terms of our past sinful activities, in terms of our social situation, in terms of our different activities, in terms of what we're worshiping, what we're worshiping. It is all irrelevant because the power of devotional service, of pure devotional service, is so glorious that none of these conditions can check one from engaging and from becoming purified and from perfecting one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One simply needs to be sincere, one simply needs to be convinced, and then one simply needs to start becoming absorbed. So one is conviction of the process and the path, and the second is now endeavoring to become absorbed, endeavoring to perfect the process. And the process itself leads to perfection. We simply need to be sincere and desire, and in this way, the rest will unfold by the mercy of pure devotional service. The question. Vandra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nitai Go Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Are there any questions or comments? Bafana says, it's liberating to be instructed that inquiry search are to be found in space directly and indirectly. I was listening to one of the podcasts where Kesha Swami is saying Krishna is actively present, giving instruction always. And Maharaj gives the example, like one of experiencing of dogs that went off barking at night where he was sleeping in Vrindavan, that he could not sleep, which was emanation of quarrel he got involved in during the day. And the lesson Krishna was giving him to not engage in unnecessary quarreling and arguments, which takes one nowhere, just like dogs barking the whole night, but to no end. Yes, Krishna is there, he's alive and fully conscious. The process of devotional service is there, fully live and fully conscious. And you are a living entity, fully live and conscious. And therefore, when you engage in this process, it is a living process, and Krishna interacts, reveals, directs, guides a sincere practitioner. The secret of success is sincerity. If you're sincere and you're serious, Krishna will reveal whatever you need for your progress. And when Krishna reveals whatever we need for our progress, if you are sincere, you'll accept. If you accept, it means you're sincere. Because now you're accepting, yes, Krishna is giving me this lesson, let me learn. I learn, I improve, I move. I learn, I improve, I move. And in this way, ultimately, we keep progressing until our heart is completely purified. Pure devotional service is fully manifested. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, pastimes become revealed to us. So we want the process to become alive. We want our relationship with Krishna to be alive. We want to perfect our loving relationship with Krishna, because that is the ultimate goal of human form of life. Mother Les says, thank you for the Krishna Katha. I'm so grateful to you and Mataji so personally keeping me engaged in this process. May you be blessed. Thank you very much. And may you continue becoming stronger and stronger, developing your devotional service and love for Krishna. Adayamavati and Radhika says, thank you, Prabhu, for the fired up class and keeping us in the five Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada's purports are so fired up, absolutely brilliant, most encouraging and inspiring. Inconceivable how Prabhupada gives us how it's truly up to us to labor and persevere towards the goal and be honest with ourselves at our level. Yes. Prabhupada gives us so much hope and causeless mercy. Yes. So much to learn and contemplate on and apply in our lives. Thank you for guiding us so nicely. We value and appreciate you. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Ekatma Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Thank you. Yes. It is up to us. If you see now in Prabhupada's purport, this specific purport, Prabhupada's, it's like he's quoting one verse after another. He's clarifying, removing any doubts, and most important, he's writing with pure love and mercy. So the mercy of Prabhupada is already included in the instructions. That means you don't need more mercy. It's already there. It's available in abundance. You can't say, yeah, Prabhu, I need mercy to perfect. No, it's already there. The guidance is there. The wisdom is there. The knowledge is there. The mercy is there. Everything is there. The only thing that's not there is your endeavor, your aspiration, your endeavor, your commitment, your sincerity, your desire. Put that there, and the rest will unfold as the most amazing spiritual journey ever. Never to be forgotten and never to be regretted. This is what Srila Prabhupada has come to give. Thank you very much. We will meet again next week. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.